the idea of capturing paper in a more durable way and creating what I call today archival paper, or the most archival paper in the world. So all of my work begins as paper, and it's cast in a very simple 35-step, 12-week process known as the lost wax casting technique. But at the end of the day, it's crystallized and captured in either bronze, aluminum, or stainless steel, which are all museum quality metals. The work is painted and finished with patinas to look like paper once again, but they all tell the same story, and that's of a piece of paper becoming something.
Wonderful. And I noticed that you also collaborate with Jennifer on some of the sculptures. Could you tell us more about that, Jennifer?
Well, we started collaborating when we got married and started building a home together. And when we did, we were working on architectural plans and designing the home. And at the same time, Kevin was noticing that birds were doing the same thing, where they're moving their branches from the nest from one side to the other, similar to the way I was moving the bathroom from one side of the home to the other. So together, art imitated life and life imitated art, and we started collaborating together on the nesting pieces.
Beautiful. And I know that you do a lot of your background pieces, a lot of outdoor installations. Your background is you have a BFA in outdoor installations. Could you tell us more about that? We're fortunate to have some of your smaller pieces here, but could you tell us more about your huge outdoor installation?
Yeah, well, it's always a dream to make something, at a larger scale and to experience the work at a scale outdoors. And so most of the work that I do starts out small, and we end up enlarging it to monumental scale. And I've been very fortunate in my career to be able to do a large number of monumental works. And so the pieces at the gallery are all maquettes or studies that were sort of put together in that process. Like the piece that's before us right now is an example of a maquette and a collaboration where I collaborated with one of the world's leading origami masters, Robert J. Lang. And he and I collaborate on really complicated concepts and designs that are beyond my folding capacity. And so the crane here is folded out of a single uncut square. It's one of the most complicated cranes in the world ever folded. And but the story of the piece of paper dreaming of flying, and the history of origami from a blank paper creation to the traditional Japanese crane to the really complex crane there sort of shows the evolution of ideas and how we begin with nothing and through our choices make things complicated or simple. And this piece was enlarged into a monument that's with a 10-foot wingspan. It's cast in stainless steel and powder coated, very limited editions, just a few of those available. But this smaller study, which is really nice, is a limited edition of 50. It's cast in bronze, and it has all the delicacy of the paper original, and you can even see the cranes floating above the surface there, which is why I love the metal. I can do things with the metal that the paper wouldn't necessarily be able to do. And monuments present a whole nother scale. It's amazing how fast things get small when they're outdoors. And so even the biggest pieces that we've ever done, you've got to scale it just right. Origami in the Garden is a collection of over 20 monumental works that have been gathering over the last 15 years of my career. And Jennifer and I realized a few years ago, after walking through a few major outdoor exhibitions at botanical gardens, and specifically a show of Chihuly in the garden, that we had enough work and a collection of work that really lent itself to being in such a setting. And so we were invited by the director of the Santa Fe Botanical Garden. He kind of got wind of this idea and had heard we were building Masterpiece, which is a 25-foot tall monument of 1,000 cranes, and said, you got to do it here first. So we debuted the show in 2014 in the Santa Fe Botanical Garden, and then introduced it to the American Public Garden Association in that year. And since then, we've been really fortunate to have the opportunities to take the work on, and we're booked right now through 2018. So we really hope that as the show travels to these major locations and that it's on exhibit for 6 months at a time, that we'll be able to really inspire hundreds of thousands of people each year with the larger pieces, and then they'll be able to find the work at a smaller scale in our galleries that we work with around the country.